Welcome to the Self-Care 101 podcast with your host, straight-talking life coach, Puja McClymont. This show provides simple self-development, supporting you to embody your self-worth so that you can live the happier, more fulfilled life that you deserve without burning out. Thank you so much for listening today. Hello, it's season 2, episode 19. This is an exciting show. We all wear clothes, right? We wear clothes, we wear shoes, and many of us also get our hair done and wear makeup. But did you know that you can use all of this to help you align with your manifestations? Now, when you're manifesting, which is a constant activity, it's not a wish, you need to align your actions towards that goal. So you might decide that you're going to use affirmations every day to affirm what you want, or you might tell everybody who'll listen all about your goals and your manifestations. However, there are many other ways to align, and how you dress is a really important one. Colours play a big factor here, and colour therapy can attest to this. You know how it feels when you wear something that just pops, everyone notices, you feel amazing and your vibe is high. And that's what manifestation is all about, high vibes. So in this show, fashion stylist to the stars, Donna McCulloch, is going to share how she fuses energy into her work with every one of her clients. She'll also do a mini virtual makeover for me so you can experience her gifts in action. And we'll be addressing how judgment can be harmful and how to channel kindness when you see a woman looking fire, when it is so ingrained in us not to do it. So let's get to it. Hi, Donna. Thank you so much for doing this show with me today.
Hi. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're very welcome. I'm excited about this show. I mean, our first conversation was so high vibe and energy. I mean, it was supposed to be half an hour, and I think we were talking for at least an hour and a half. So I know that this is going to be a great show. So I really appreciate it. So I've just sort of talked about, a little bit about what the show is going to be about already to the listeners. And I'd love you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do. And let's go from there.
Great, no problem. Thank you. So my name's Donna and I'm a fashion stylist. I work with various people. I work with some higher people like Dr. Ranj Singh, people like Gemma Atkinson, Kate Lawler, that kind of Gorka Marquez. I don't know if you're Strictly fans. He was on Saturday. So that's I've got quite a few of that level of client, but I've also got everyday people like you and me, not that we're not special, because we obviously are, and of course. And so what I do is I style people for various events, particularly if they're celebrities. But when I'm working with just Joe Public, even when I'm doing red carpet, is just to kind of make people the best possible versions of themselves and get them to express themselves through their clothes, because it's never just about clothes. Clothes are not just clothes. Clothes say so much more than what we think they say. We make a conscious decision every day to put something on, whether we're aware of it or not. And that says a lot about us, be it, whether it's comfortable or whether it's uncomfortable, whether or not, it's a certain color or it's impractical for the weather, all of those things. It's like, who am I going to be today? People to kind of find what that is and what their style is. I work with lots of women. I'm in my 40s, I'm a mum, and I work with lots of women who've maybe had children and feel like they've kind of lost their way a bit and feel like they've been a bit kind of consumed by motherhood and who are they now, and like they used to shop at Topshop. Well, Topshop's not even here, but you know what I mean, they used to shop at a shop, and now does that work for them, and all that sort. So that's what I do, and my days can look very, very different. I can do photo shoots, or I can be trawling around high street shops with clients, helping them to find their magic.
Amazing. That's already made me want to go shopping with you, which is something I definitely need to do, but more on that in a bit. That really struck me, what you said about being a mum and losing yourself and who you are. And when you said about shopping in Topshop, I appreciate Topshop's not there now. It's going to be IKEA.
No.
But I can completely.
Is it going to be IKEA?
I think so. Yeah, that's the route. That's in the rumor mill. You know how IKEA does some showrooms in shopping centers. So I think that's the. Yeah, I mean,
that's an iconic place, though. Sorry, another discussion. Anyway,
I know, right? But that really hit home because I've certainly felt that since my son was born. It was very much about comfort, comfort, comfort. And I used to be a heels wearer, like all the time. Heels, loved my shoes, you know, a ridiculous amount of shoes. I was that girl. And when he came along, well, actually during the pregnancy, I had to change my shoes because my feet got bigger. So they was really swollen. So I was wearing these terrible shoes from Clark's, but they were comfortable and they did the job. But then when I had him, I was just trainers and I literally haven't come out of trainers. And I remember my friend saying to me, you know, you're always in trainers. I was like, I know, I just can't. And now I'm trying to pretend that it's style and like I'm just making it a thing.
It kind of is. I mean, there's lots of things there because I feel like sometimes we feel like we lose our personality along with the placenta. You know, it's like, where did that version of me go? And it's still there. You're still the same person. It's just you reclaim that back. You kind of take back your power, but you're also a different version of yourself, you know, because when you do have a child, it does change you. What we don't want it to do is, you know, obviously when you're a mum, you know, you have to, you know, that's your job. You have to look after your child, but it's not constantly about putting yourself last. And I think women are inclined to put themselves very further down the pecking order. So I had a client who said she knew she was ready to be styled by me when she stopped just like using like matey in the bath and started like buying herself like some actual bubble bath. It's that kind of level, you know. It's like, oh, I'll just have the kids shampoo that's not right for my hair, or, you know, I'll just use this old thing, you know, I'll use this like, you know, whatever. And then suddenly she was like buying herself, you know, some half decent bath salts and going, no, I'm ready to invest in me. But I think the trainers thing is interesting because women's feet do change post-pregnancy. Like my feet changed. My feet are flatter. I used to have a much kind of more, I've got a high instep, but my foot used to be more shaped like that. It's a dancer's foot. So heels were, I mean, I'm 5'2". You walk differently in heels. You feel differently. You get judged differently in heels. Heels completely change your posture. And if you're a kind of shorter girl like me, then they kind of gave me a little bit of power. And so I feel like the heels thing is an interesting one. But actually when your feet change, it is more comfortable to wear trainers, and trainers have never ever, like it's London Fashion Week at the moment, and there were years like 10 years ago, the whole of the front row would have been like ridiculous vertiginous heels that they'd literally put on to sit down. You know, they hadn't walked any distance in them. They're car to bar shoes. Whereas now you see real, you know, kind of high end fashion editors and celebrities wearing trainers because trainers have had a real kind of rebirth.
Yeah.
And forgive me if I've talked to you about this story, but I actually had a client who was looking for some black court shoes. Now, black court shoes are standard. When you and I were like in our 20s, we could walk in anywhere and get a pair of black court shoes.
Yeah.
I had to go to 5 different shoe shops. There was a small trainer section and everything else was heels. It's the reverse now. Office, June, any of these places, it's all trainers and flats, and you actually kind of have to find the heels. It's completely flipped. But all I would say to you is, when I say you're a different version of yourself, you are a different version of yourself, but you're still the same Puja. So wear your trainers, but have your heels in your bag. I've always got heels in my bag, so that if I want to field it, or wedges are a lovely way of getting comfort. That's how you kind of, I'm still Donna. I'm Donna, but slightly different version, and need to be fast. And I tell you what I hate to see, and sorry if I'm going on, but I really, I want to go up to sometimes really young girls when they're at kind of Waterloo or whatever, and they're teetering, you know, after, and I want to go, you know what, honey, just take those off. This is a whole lot of pain. You don't deserve it. Don't do this to yourself, you know? It doesn't look good, okay? Like, take them off, wear them later. I don't know. I went to a talk years ago with Christian Louboutin, and he basically said, this is the guy who made the shoes, really charismatic, and he was like, I'm always really shocked that women wear my shoes because they're not really made to be worn, you know. They're basically a work of art. They're like that. You go down a shoe size in Louboutins. You go down a full shoe size because your feet, there's no gravity on them. There's nothing. So I feel like, you know, in some ways heels are really, really sexy, and you can still get the sexiness out of them, but you don't have to have the pain, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you on it. And to be honest with you, like I used to work for Nike, so I have an appreciation for the trainer in terms of the technology and everything that goes into.
Nike. My children tell me off all the time. I also say Nike. They're like, it's Nike. It's Nike.
No,
It's
it's not
Nike,
Nike,
right?
it's
I
Nike.
know.
It's named after the god,
The
um,
Greek god,
Greek
right?
god.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, no, I know.
Nike.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Nike, and yeah, I had to go through that with my husband as well because he was like, "You don't know
Yeah.
what you're talking about." I was like, "Mate, I work there. I kissed the badge.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know, I know."
yeah.
So I have a real like deep appreciation for it, but equally I have a massive appreciation, like you say, for the work of art that is a shoe, like a Christian Louboutin shoe. Completely, I'm with it. But obviously, lifestyle changed, pushing a pram with heels, not really conducive.
No.
Going to work in heels if I don't have to, then why am I doing it? And maybe that's an age thing as well as comfort, just being more comfortable wearing what I want to wear rather than what I'm told to wear. And I think that was
Or
quite a trend.
suppose, yeah, and I do think there was an idea of womanhood and femininity that was kind of dictated to us in
Yes.
our generation in a way that, like, my daughter can't walk in heels and never. I don't know if you watched Strictly at the weekend, but there was an 18-year-old, so very typical kind of Jen, was in heels, and she was like, my feet are killing me, like I never wear heels. Now 18, we'd been wearing them since we were like 15, 14,
Yeah.
we'd been wearing the heels in, so I think it is different. Also the pandemic, Zoom, corporate dressing now is completely changed. And I think there is kind of like a generation of girls going, I don't want to go through a whole world of pain.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really happy just wearing trainers. Did you see Emma Raducanu at the party wearing a Chanel dress and white trainers? Incredible figure, and she looked amazing. Girl could wear a bin bag. But it was just like, that wouldn't have happened. That wouldn't have happened 10 years ago. You wouldn't have had a tennis star wearing a Chanel dress and white trainers. It was, and but she's 18 and she's like, I've just been playing tennis all day. I don't want to stick my feet in vertiginous heels.
Totally. But actually, as a look, I feel like I'm ahead of my time, or was ahead of my time. But as a look, I always loved a dress with a pair of trainers, because you could wear a really hot dress, and when you pair it with a pair of trainers, you just take the edge off.
Yeah, well, it edges it up, actually. It takes it, like you say, it makes it less glam. So what it does is you've got the impact, but it's on your terms as well. It's like, I want to look this good, but
on your terms. I
want to dance tonight.
I love that you said that you have the impact, but it's on your terms. Because when I would do it, when I would style myself in that way, it was very much in my mind, it was, I'm not perfect polished as a person, right? In terms of like, I'm a little bit, I could come across professional, but actually when you get to know me, I'm super down to earth. I am actually chill. I have my highly strung moments, don't get me wrong, but I've just bought some velvet chairs and I don't want anyone touching them. So there's moments, but generally
they look good though.
Yeah, but thank you. But generally in terms of like dress, I like to wear a dress with a pair of good trainers. I'm not talking about £2.50 pair of canvas shoes. I'm talking about a nice pair of trainers that set it off. It balances it out, makes it interesting. And that for me is more me than wearing a pretty dress with the heels and the hair and makeup, because I'm always a hair and makeup girl. That's my bag. As I've gained weight, I've become a little bit more frumpy in terms of how I dress, because I'm not happy. I know we're going to get into this segment, because I'm not happy with the weight that I've gained, because obviously the weight I've gained is different to the way I was prior to having my son. So the fat girl before my son, is the fat has distributed differently almost on the physical body. So where I thought I could wear certain things, and then I saw pictures of myself, I was like, oh, the cesarean did that. You can't wear that because that's going to make you more self-conscious, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, like I said, we'll get into that segment. But I've always loved that, because I was always more comfortable wearing a dress with trainers than all those God knows how many years where I wore the dress with heels. And I found that really liberating, actually. So when it
is liberating, and liberating is a really good word. I feel like, so my daughter's generation, she's 16, They're just not going to put up with that. You know, they're like, I'm not going to do that. It's just, you know, it's not up for discussion.
I'm here for it. I mean, I have
you're ahead of your time.
Look at me, fabulous. But I have lots of reservations with Gen Z with certain things, but that one of their values I really don't dispute, because I always used to hate that you have to wear a suit in a certain job, or you have to go to an interview wearing a suit, and suits don't look great on everybody. And then, well, maybe they do, but you have to find the right cut, the right fit, and suit is it's so tailored that actually you need it made to measure so that it all...
You totally do. You totally do. And there was the whole thing where men would get a made to measure suit, and it was a really big thing, but women wouldn't. And it's like, actually, they're made for men. They're not made for a woman's body, you know? And it was always famously politicians like Angela Merkel and Hillary Clinton who had like a pantsuit for every occasion, because they felt like they had to kind of almost man up to be accepted within a, you know, in a colourful, you know, lemon or something, to be accepted in a man's world. But so people like Daniel Craig, it's very topical because he's the Bond. So Daniel Craig is a really odd body shape. Now, Daniel Craig, we can universally agree, has a phenomenal body. Daniel Craig can't get any suits to fit him because he's so big, but he's also short, because he's not short, but he's not tall. He's like 5'9". Tom Hardy, again, we can universally agree, these men are not, you know, these are specimens, okay? They're having to, precisely. They have to get their suits tailor-made. You know, and most men do. So it's the same for women. I mean, I've the power of tailoring and how important it is. But I think that the suit for a woman and the suit for a man. I mean, I'm editing wardrobes at the moment, mostly like, what do I wear for work? It's changed so much. I'm saying keep the suit jacket for a blazer and wear it with some jeans. But get rid of the trousers. They're done. You know, and don't, you know, you don't need them. Give them to charity. You know, rework them if you want them to tailor, get them made in something else. So the suit's kind of a weird one now. And even red carpet now, for the red carpet with kind of the suits for men, it's completely changed. You know, they're wearing different things now. And men's, I mean, you know, I love menswear. I do a lot of menswear styling, and menswear is really, really having a moment. So it's not just about women and dressing. Men can find their own style too. And the suit, I think, has kind of had its day. Or it's going to be reworked very, very, very differently.
Yeah, I think so. I think suits are wonderful. I love a jacket just to set off a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, you know, I mean,
blazers are great.
Yeah, I'm wearing a soft jacket today, but I do like a structured jacket. Now, why my issue with buying off the rack, unfortunately, is where I'm broad here, busty, I end up having to buy 2 sizes bigger, but then when I go 2 sizes bigger, you have to take it in because the shoulders don't sit right, the waist doesn't nip in, I've got the hourglass figure. So it's always quite a frustration to sort of go through that. And it's interesting that we're talking about tailoring, and I know we have to get back onto the show points, but I'm Indian, and when we buy a sari, you have to get the blouse part made. It literally comes as a piece of material, and has
made
to
for
be
you.
Made. Yeah, you can buy it off the peg now, but it's not the same. It's not you cannot.
But it's almost the ritual of it, right?
Yes, you cannot wear a sari without having the blouse made for you, right? Fitted to you, where you want your necklines, where you want your bra straps to be, etc. And every time I wear a sari, I feel my most beautiful, no matter what size I am. For some reason, and I don't wear massive heels with a sari as well, like they've gone down to 2 inches, you know, from the previous 3 or 4, but no matter what I wear, and also I think the elegance of a sari forces you into being elegant as well, sort of, you know, like we're talking about.
Agree. You hold yourself differently. It's like a posture thing as well.
Yeah, and it's elegance, like you hold the drape of the sari on your arm, and so your hand is like that, you know, very sort of like soft and feminine, and it just feels so good. And I never really thought about it until literally just now, as we were talking about tailoring, that because the blouse is fit to my body, I feel 100% comfortable in what I'm wearing.
It's a second skin, and that's what clothes should feel like. They should feel like an extension of you. And I mean, I'm also going to make the point, I know we're going to talk about this, that saris invariably are colourful and they're silk, so they're a luxurious material. So it just feels like, you know, everything's like it's made to measure. It feels like a second skin. It's floaty. It's beautiful. It's not uncomfortable. It's not scratchy. It's silk. It's, you know, it's all very sensual and a really kind of beautiful clothes experience, if that makes sense. And you know, then it's not some kind of drab kind of, you know what I'm trying to say. It's
completely.
I think cause it enhances all that's magnificent about you, you know, brings out all of that.
Yeah, I think so, 100%. Because when you're wearing a sari as well, they're obviously so beautiful, and depending on, you know, what kind of sari you've bought and stuff like that. I mean, mostly I'm wearing saris at parties and weddings, so they're quite, you know, ornate and things. Yeah, they're fabulous. But you don't even have to do much with anything else. You know, I don't have to go crazy with the hair. I can if I want to, but I don't have to, because the outfit is enough. And then it's just really how you carry yourself, and you're carrying the outfit. It's beautiful. Just stunning way to
you're letting the clothes do the talking, which is what should happen. And I think that's what I mean. It's such a powerful statement what you wear. And when you say how good you feel, it's like clothes have that power to lift your mood. And that's what I say about making a conscious decision every day. Interesting what you said about hourglass. I just want to say something about hourglass, because I talk to women all the time about their body shapes. And men as well, because men also obviously have body shapes. But I have women saying to me, how have I got to like 42 as an apple shape or a pear shape or an hourglass? And she's like, I should be taught this in schools. And it's I'm not necessarily sure that school's the right forum for it, but it's almost like it's incredible that women don't know what their body shape is. You know, that because they buy trend-led pieces, and then they're like, oh, it doesn't suit me. It's like, of course it's not going to suit you. You're an hourglass. This is made for an apple shape, or this is made for a bloody blah. And I am a very kind of very typical hourglass, and I work with a stylist who's a body map expert. Her name's Anna Barkley. I should put you in touch. She's an amazing woman, and she always wants to use me as a kind of model for an hourglass. Conceptions about shape. You know, when you ask a woman, they're like, oh, I'm an hourglass or I'm a pear. The most common shape for British women is pear shape. That's the most common shape. But everybody perceptually thinks that they're an hourglass because that's the kind of considered the most feminine, blah, 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 blah. But you know what the percentage of women in the UK is who are hourglass? Guess.
I don't know. 20?
8.
Whoa.
8% of women are hourglass. And she's like, they're a pear, you know, because often pear-shaped women have kind of big bums or bigger bums and thighs and hips and thighs, and then they think that's an hourglass, but it's not, you know, because an hourglass is where you are literally, so your shoulders are literally in line with your hips. It's very, very obvious shape. And so, so 8%. I was really shocked by that.
Wow.
So and I'm a stylist. I work with body shapes all the time. So it made me realize just how a lot of fashion is pushing these very kind of feminine, you know, like heels and that whole Marilyn Monroe thing, whereas actually only 8% of women have that figure. So how can that's why fashion has to kind of evolve and change, because our body shapes have changed. You know, evolution. We're bigger now. We have bigger boobs. You know, blah blah. We eat more healthily, we live longer, our bodies change, and they change through as we go through the life cycle. Pregnancy changes us, menopause changes us, all of those things can change us. So it's about kind of the evolution of us, but maintaining the core of who we are and expressing that through our clothes.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I know I'm not going to digress anymore, but you and I were talking about how when I recently went to the Lancôme counter to buy foundation, the lady gave me a bunch of samples for skincare, and I was like, no, I'm fine with my oil of Olay and blah, blah, blah. And I tried them, and from the first night that I tried the night cream, I was like, oh, I need to up level my skincare. My skin has changed, and I went through this whole thing, and there is so much. It's because, and it's coming back to very top of the show where we're talking about how we put ourselves at the bottom of the list. If we were at the top of the list, we would go, right, I'm 30 now. what does my body and my skin need? Let's revisit, let's look at everything. It's not just a case of buying the most expensive or buying the cheapest. It's actually about, what does my skin need? My personal bespoke skin need? What does my body shape need? How do I feel about myself now? What am I doing with my life? Am I still working in the city, or am I working from home more now? You know, do I need to be wearing all these suits? Can I change it up? The whole thing. And we just don't do it. We don't check in with ourselves until we kind of have to go to an event, and it's like, oh shit, I need to get new foundation, I need to do this new this doesn't suit me anymore. Why doesn't it suit me? But I wore it like 5 years ago. And then you realize 5 years was like 15 years ago. And you're, like you say, you're a different person. And we have to check in with ourselves and see what's going on. And I agree, it's something that would be amazing to be taught in schools, just sort of like life lessons almost, you know, just check in with yourself. Every 10 years, just check in and give yourself an MOT of what's working, what's not, what could help you further with whatever, you know.
I think so. And I think so, obviously, but you know, obviously, weight is a huge issue for women, and we feel so judged by our body size and our body shape in society. And I've talked about, I work with some really high profile clients, and some of them are plus size, and I get really frustrated by how brands make me feel about requesting bigger sizes, let alone what it says to the client. And it's almost like the bigger you are, the smaller you're made to feel in some ways, you know, and sometimes the smaller you are, the tinier you are, the bigger you're made to feel, as in the more powerful you're made to feel, you know, metaphorically. And I think it's one of those things that it's very, very important to check in with yourself, because women constantly say to me, oh, I'd really like to, you know, use you and be styled, but I'll lose the weight. And I'm like, no, come to me, and then you'll probably lose the weight. Because actually that's what happens. Once you invest in yourself, you know, you might say to me, I've had a client this morning saying, oh, because we're going shopping on Thursday, I'm planning on losing some weight. Will that make a difference? Like, you know, 7 pounds. I'm like, no, that won't make a difference at all. Don't worry, it's fine. But actually, sometimes they get more comfortable in their own skin and they don't need to lose the weight, because they're just like, no, I found what suits me, and actually I look good in this now. And that's that. Or they're like, actually, I've got my mojo back now and I'm going to lose the weight, but I'm going to lose the weight slowly and in a safe way, and not in a, you know, really, really like detrimental, punishing way where I have protein shakes for 6 weeks, that kind of thing. So it's really, it's very, very powerful how clothes make you feel. And I during the pandemic, like everybody, I wasn't as active, blah, blah, blah. So I've lost some weight recently, and I had this kind of pair of jeans that I was desperate to get back into. You know, when you look at things and you think, I'll hold on to that because I know. And actually, sometimes when you covet things and then you go back to them, you're like, this isn't me anymore. So it's really interesting. You know, you can say, oh, no, that's the girl I am. That's the girl I am. And then you lose the weight. And then you try the jeans and you're like, no, that's not the girl I am. I'm a different girl now. I'm a different version of that person, you know, and I'm happy with that. And so, you know, you put those, I mean, I've talked to you about it before. I give lots and lots of clothes when I do wardrobe edits with other women and men. I will always give the clothes to charity, or I take them to, I have a contacts with local refuges as well, because sometimes, and unfortunately the pandemic has made this worse, you know, women are literally leaving with the clothes on their back and nothing else. So I think if you give a pair, a woman wears them and that makes her feel good, then, you know, it's good karma, and it's putting good back in the universe. So as long as you do it that way.
100%. I just did that because I recently moved house, and I was holding on to 4 big square boxes full of size 10 and size 12 clothes from my time before. And I was holding on to them in the hope, well, I needed to cull them anyway, but I was holding on to a lot of them because I wanted to have the clothes there for when I lost the weight again, you know, so I wouldn't have to go shopping again and blah, 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 right? It was a weird kind of thing in my head. And when we moved into this place,
no, we all have these things.
Yeah, and it's smaller here. So we were forced to cull more ruthlessly than we would have, you know, if we had more space, right, to just store stuff. And it was such a freeing exercise. I already did a cull before I moved, and I got down from 4 boxes to, I think, 2 boxes or 3 boxes. And then I came here with those 3 boxes, and I was like, right, let's be totally ruthless. Would you wear that again? You know? And I ended up cutting it all down to like, it ended up being one box, but it's not the full box. It's like half a box. And I would say in there is, it's more the nicest things in terms of like the designer dresses, the one that the dresses that really just made me pop and feel a certain way. So in terms of keeping them as more from a motivation stance, like remember when you wore that, how it felt, how amazing would it be to feel that again, kind of thing. And it was such a lovely exercise to do. And we have a charity shop near, literally down the road. So we gave everything to the charity shop. And as we drive past, we see our little bits. And I love like watching people look at them and take them. And it's just such a nice feeling, because it's like, you know what, I enjoyed wearing it, but I'm not that person anymore. So passing it on. Energy, right?
And also it's done with love. If you do everything from a place of love, I don't think you can go wrong. And it's that kind of energy transfer, isn't it? So you know, it no longer serves you, but it's been good to you, but so now it goes to somebody else. So it's not kind of going with negative energy. It's it's coming from a place of love. And I think that's really important, because clothes hold on to energy. It's like, I'm really funny about buying secondhand jewelry, especially kind of if it's engagement rings or something. I can think, oh, this is something that didn't go very well. You know, it clothes things, you know, I know that sounds a bit Harry Potter, but they really, really do. No, but people kind of like, oh, that sounds like a Horcrux or something. I say, no, it's not like that. But you do have, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I if I'm given jewelry from a relative or a grandma, then that's obviously very precious to me, and I hold on to that. It's like, but like I love vintage, and I love experimenting with vintage, but vintage jewelry, I sometimes, because it's so close to your skin, I know clothes are as well, but it's just like jewelry in particular is often given with love or by a lover. I just have to be a bit careful sometimes.
That's interesting. And we could digress on that, because I was just thinking a bunch of things.
I know we can talk about
I'm not going to. I'm not going to digress. Yes, let's get back to structure. So interesting that you started talking about energy. So let's move into that. Now, when we started talking about doing a show together, you had listened to my show on energy and you were like, oh my God, yeah, totally in sync. Let's do this. So tell me a little bit about how you use manifestation or energy in your personal life. So not with your clients, we'll talk about clients in a minute, but more how you use it. And I guess why you believe that it works. No, why you believe that it works.
Well, I just believe everything is energy. Everything. You know, money's energy. You know, we're energy. We're just loads of different particles, all energy. So I don't think that's any different. So I think that clothes give you energy, and the different, you know, skincare gives you energy, and make it literally every single thing you put on your body, on your face, you know, that you allow to kind of seep into your pores is energy. And so I think that you should it's almost like you set an intention. So, and I say, you know, tomorrow I need to do this, so this is what I need to wear, and this is how I need to feel. But then I might wake up in the day and go, no, actually I don't feel that person today, I feel a different person. So then it's a bit of a scramble to find something else. But you know, there's a phrase, if I'm a nicer person if I like my outfit, and I really am. And I think a lot of you know, that kind of that confidence and that feeling positive comes from, we're judged on the way we look before we even open our mouths. You know, you literally, what, particularly women, and particularly, I mean, I'm now of the age where apparently I'm invisible, and I'm like, not a chance, you know. I'm not going to become invisible, you know, that's not who I am. And I'm not very tall, but like the greatest compliment you can pay me is you've got great energy, or like, people always say to me, you've got so much energy. Like literally you walked, and I'm 157 centimeters, but I can change the frequency of a room just by walking in it, because you bring it, don't you? You bring that kind of positivity. And I'm not saying I'm always Little Miss Positive, because I'm not. I have bad days just like everybody else. But I always try to set my day up with what I'm going to wear and how I'm going to wear it, you know, from whether I wear my hair up or whether I wear my down, the makeup I wear, the lipstick I wear, everything. All of that is me setting an intention and, you know, manifesting a good day. Let me have a good day, you know, let me be powerful. Let me be nurturing. Obviously, what I wear to London Fashion Week is very different to what I wear to a parents' evening. Let me be taken seriously. It's all of those things. That's why I get irritated by people who talk about clothes as being frivolous, or it's just clothes. It's never just clothes. It's always so much more than clothes. And so that's how I operate. And I try very, very, very hard to always be that person who smiles at people, even if they don't smile back. So I think they need it more than I do. But also, so for example, I walked past a girl the other day, and I think it's a really tough time to be young right now. She's probably about the same age as my daughter. She was at college, and she had like her hair, one half was lilac and one half was like lime green, and it was king. And I walked past, and she looked a bit awkward. She looked a bit like it was like, that's quite statement hair, but she obviously garnered a lot of attention. And sometimes teenagers do that, and they're not really ready for the attention,
Yeah.
They don't have necessarily the life skills or confidence. And I walked past her and I went, your hair's fabulous. And she went, oh my God, thank you. It's like that thing that I said to her will have made her feel happy fine in 10 minutes. But that's just good. So if I see something, I'm like, I like your bag, you smell nice, your lipstick looks great. It's like always, if you see something and you like it and somebody looks good, say it. It's like that experiment where they tell people they're beautiful and their whole face changes.
Yes.
You tell somebody something nice about them, you genuinely mean it, you're not just being fake. It makes such a difference, not just to them, but also to you. It's like that cycle of love, It's like, I like what you're wearing. Thank you. You've made me feel good about yourself. I'm going to send you some positive vibes, blah, 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 and on and on. It's like a domino effect. And I think half the time, the women, we talked about it before, I loathe that those kind of articles that say you shouldn't wear, what women over 40 shouldn't wear is the weight of other people's bloody expectations. Right. Is what they shouldn't be wearing. They can wear whatever the hell they like. And I loathe that they're commissioned by women, for women, and they're written by women. It's like, whose side are you on? I mean, come on, give me a break. So I feel like that whole being nice to other women, if it's being fed to us, and we can have a whole other discussion about why it's being fed to us and who it's being fed to us by, but a lot of the time, so we just have to fight it from the grassroots up, and we just have to be like being nice to each other, because the nicer we are to each other, the less judgy we are. I don't know if I talked to you about, and stop me if I've gone on, but I'm a big fan of Jennifer Lopez. A big fan of her. I think she's phenomenal.
Yes. We're both fans. We were both fangirling over her.
And I had to unfollow somebody on Instagram because they put a post of her in a bikini and basically just kind of wrote how bad she made them feel, and loads of like money, and and literally just like this whole kind of litany of reasons as to why she didn't like Jennifer Lopez in a bikini. And I said nothing about Jennifer Lopez in a bikini. All of that was just her projecting her insecurities and her sadness about herself onto a woman who'd never met her and had done nothing other than look shit hot in a bikini. Wow. Like literally Jennifer Lopez gets up every single day, doesn't drink, eats, drinks loads of water, doesn't drink alcohol, drinks healthily, works really, really hard, is a great mum, is considered to be I know people who've worked with her and they're like, that girl works her arse off. She's a good girl. She's got good genes, obviously, and she's been a dancer since she was like, a baby. So she's got amazing genetic memory. But it's just like, if you're triggered by a woman who works really hard, who gets up every single day and says, I want to look like this, I'm working hard to look like this, don't bring her down to make yourself feel better, because you won't make yourself feel better. You'll make yourself feel worse. It's a cycle of negativity and self-loathing that doesn't make anybody feel better about themselves. It's women, we need to take responsibility for that. We really do. We need to, like, if we look at something and it triggers, it's like, why are we triggered by it? What has this person done to me? She's a complete stranger. She's done nothing to trigger this. Different if it's a politician and they're saying something and you're like, oh my God, that hurts my soul. That's completely different. You're allowed to be triggered by that and go, you know what? That person is not a good person. But don't judge somebody on like their genetics and how hard they work and how much hours they put in the gym.
Admire that.
If you want to look like her, then you can't drink and don't have pizza.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's something to use almost in admiration. Like when I look at Jennifer Lopez or Jennifer Aniston, and they're two of my favorite sort of
all
older
about the
women,
gens.
right? Yeah, but then they're both gens. But they're two of my favorites because I'm obviously looking beyond the visual. I'm looking at their work ethic
Yeah.
and how they've worked, like even down to Jennifer Aniston not coming onto Instagram until like last year or something. It's things like that.
Yeah.
Her values, the way she carries herself, the roles that they choose to do, and things like that. And to be honest with you, when I see them hitting their 50th birthdays, I look at them and I'm inspired to go, that's
Same.
50. I want
Yeah.
that, I want
Yeah.
that. That's what I want, and what do I need to do that? Obviously, granted, I do have coach hat on a lot in my life now. So when I'm
Yeah, but
looking at
that's
things like
okay.
that, yeah, exactly. I go straight to the how can I have that rather than jealousy. I think I probably feel more jealousy if it was somebody close to me. But when I'm looking at the celebrities, it's more of a inspiration to say,
Yeah.
this is what 50 can look like. It's up to
Yes.
you to do the work to make that your reality. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It is, weight loss. I don't want to digress into weight loss, but just a simple point. Weight loss, the maths is simple. Eat less than you output.
Yeah. Exercise more.
That's it. There is no that
No, there's no magic formula.
there's no magic formula.
No.
It's literally just consume less than you put out or do more than you put in. And that is literally it.
Yeah.
Scientifically, it always keeps boiling down to that. Yes, there's mindset there too. But
Definitely.
even that in itself, if you can really just get your head around that equation, the science of it, your mindset will adjust accordingly as well. But if you're thinking, I want to look like someone, that's where you have to work on your mindset when it comes to weight loss, because you'll never look like somebody else. You'll always look like you. So I could look at Jennifer Lopez and I don't have the same physical shape as her. So I'm never going to look like her. I will just be inspired to be fit and healthy at 50 in my skin and how my body looks, right? But the inspiration is there to say, put the hard work in and it can happen. Although I don't like to use the term hard work, but you know what I mean, like in terms of focus and alignment.
But just like do the work, do the work, the internal work, the external work, you see. And you're right, like that is that is the basic premise. You have to move more and eat less. And and I think sometimes as women we possibly emotionally eat because we're not filling our bucket in other ways. And that's why I say once you do the styling with me, you won't reach for stuff and you're feeling really good about yourself, so you don't need to have I know, because I'm guilty, sometimes I'm doing it, I'm like I know that I'm emotionally eating now, something's bad's happened or something's made me sad and suddenly I'm reaching for something and I'm doing it because I'm sad about something. Whereas that's what I'm saying about the styling. It makes you feel better about yourself and you're less likely to kind of fill those kind of holes with a dairy milk or
do you know what,
whatever you're
and you know what, Donna, it's interesting how we're talking and this is like just two mates having a chat, but it's interesting that you just said that, because I literally have a first-hand example. It's a very basic example, but we moved into this place on the 6th of August, right? And in that month, I've lost half a stone. I can tell you now, I've done nothing consciously to do it. And it's not stress, because moving into this home was the most joyous experience ever. So no, it's not stress at all. And I was really like noticing myself. And I actually said to my husband about 3 weeks ago, and I said, do you know, I've been losing weight. And he's like, have you? I was wondering, because, you're vibing different. And I said, yeah. And he goes, what have you been doing or not doing? And I said, do you know what? I've noticed that I'm not snacking since we've moved here. I'm not snacking. And
you're happy.
Yeah. And I said, and I'm wondering if I was so stressed out at the other place that was causing me to snack, whereas now I'm just being more efficient and mindful with my time and what I'm doing. Like it's not even like I'm doing it on purpose to not snack. It's just the need isn't there. And then I was obviously equating it to the emotional eating. But I've had like pajamas that are just old clothes for so many years now, since having my son, everything changed in terms of, I went into frump. And so literally like it would be old t-shirts, old vests, and old like leggings or whatever became pajamas, right? And
Yeah.
I was walking around in my new place, and I was like, I need new pajamas. Like, I'm lounging, I'm in lounge a lot.
Yeah.
I want loungewear, and I
Yeah.
want the unnecessary cardigan with the top and the matching and everything else. That's what I want. In my head, I'm like cashmere, DKNY, circa 92, that kind of thing. And
Very
then
Meghan Markle.
very, yes, that whole vibe, very much so. That's what I was like, that's how I want to be in this house. And obviously that goes into that manifesting and energy. And I literally was in Marks and Spencer's, and they had just some very nice bottoms. And I was like, let me grab a couple of those, and I'll start the process, in terms of that. And I've got a nice cardi to wear. And every time I wear them, like, I want to wear them more than I do anything else. But even that little slight change for 20 quid has changed the way I lounge even at home. It's shifted my energy. I feel less sluggish in my loungewear.
Yeah.
It actually picks me up. It's fascinating how fashion can affect your energy. And I guess you use this with your clients as well, do you? Like, when you're consulting, do you bring that energy into the work that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. And a lot of what I'm doing is getting rid of stuff that no longer serves them, and I think if they're mums, I use the analogy, it's like, well, if that doesn't fit the child anymore, you get rid of it. This doesn't fit you anymore. It doesn't fit you either literally or metaphorically. So let's ditch it. And people have emotional attachment to clothes, and for, like I say, everything's energy for a variety of reasons. But people holding on to things that they once fitted into, in 1997, and it's like, no, that version of you is gone. If you want to keep it, it's like a book or records, or it's something, or a mixtape. It's kind of, it belongs in that kind of retro kind of, put it in a time capsule, put it in a box in your attic or something, if it means that much to you. I have like some maternity clothes from when I had my babies, because it's like, I want to remember that version of me, because that was a nice time in my life, but I'm not going to wear them now, so yeah, it's definitely, I definitely bring that in. And I think that's a really nice example. But sometimes you don't have to be happy, and just you being content, and you mindfully do things differently. It's like, I have a friend who's a big kind of yogi, and she says, if people would just, it's not even stop and smell the coffee, it's just like, eat a blueberry, one blueberry, taste how good that one blueberry is. And I think even for those of us who don't snack, it's when we eat on the hoof, and we're kind of, we're not even tasting the food. And it's like, she made me do this thing with a blueberry, and I was like, God, yeah, that blueberry, it does. And I just like, 10 at a time.
Yeah.
So it is that, like you say, just everything about being more mindful, and just kind of being more, thinking more about why and how and what you're doing.
Yeah, really considered. That's a really nice way of looking at it. I like that a lot. So when you're working with a client, do you, like, for example, when I meet someone for the first time, I'm very much, I'll hang back and give them space, right? So like, when we met, you were full of energy, right? And then as we sort of talked more, we delved deeper into like why, and it was your star sign and things like that, and everything just started coming together nicely. And I enjoyed just being in your space. Like, I was like, that's how I start a conversation. Give you the room, give you the floor, and let's see where it goes. If you were more introverted and less forthcoming, then I would encourage more conversation, right? Absolutely.
You just
read the room sort of situation. And I really enjoyed it, and I loved being in your space. I enjoyed being in your energy, and it felt good. And it felt good to just stop and just listen to what you're saying. And even as we've been doing this show, you're talking and I'm regarding everything that you're saying, so much so that I'm forgetting to stay on track and ask you questions, because I'm like, it's that sort of like, you're a forever learner sort of thing. But it's very fascinating. And when I like meet a new client, for instance, it's very much about reading them and then providing them with the support they need. So it's sort of bespoke. So it's not just a case of, I'm a life coach, I'll come, I'll help you sort your life out, blah, blah, blah. It's not. It's like, book that call, spend an hour with me. Let's see if we are vibing, and let me see where you're at so that I can give you the right support that you need, rather than something that's going to not be your fit. Because I'm straight talking, I'm not for everybody, but I'm straight talking, but I'm not, I guess, I can adjust according to the client that I have, because the needs, the baseline needs of what they want from the work that we do, I can provide. But it's very important that our energy is aligned. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. If I feel like a client is going to be take in a way of give me the advice, give me the advice, it's like, baby girl, this isn't going to work. This isn't an advice thing.
No.
I don't give advice. I will give you suggestions based on the things that you tell me about yourself and your lifestyle, but I will not be able to give you the advice, because it's your life and I don't know you enough to be able to. And even still, advice is, if you've walked the exact footprint of somebody's shoes, then fine.
Yeah.
You can give more advice, but really you can give a suggestion, and then it's up to the person to explore it. And when you're with a client, I'm coming to, when you meet them for the first time, do you feel and read their energy and go, oh, I know exactly what that person needs?
I do. I do. It's definitely, I have either a phone or more, and obviously during the pandemic it was Zoom, which can be harder to read actually. And there was one that I didn't read correctly because of Zoom. And that went a little bit awry, but definitely, I'm all about energy, and I can read somebody's energy and decide whether or not. And sometimes I have to say, I'm not sure I'm the stylist for you, and I encourage people to be as open as possible. I have people say to me, oh, I love your look, but I don't want to look like you. And I'm like, I don't want you to look like me either. I don't want a Donna clone. This is me, this is who I am. I want you to be who you are. But then, sometimes I will work with people, and that people are either radiators or drains, and we have the capacity to be both. I try at all times to be a radiator, but I definitely be a drain with some people. But where possible, I feel like you need to try to be, the light rather than the darkness.
Yeah.
And although we have light and shade, as I say, in both, we do have that. So I am very conscious when somebody is being quite draining, that I can do a piece of work with them, because I feel like there's a chink and I can get in there, but that it will be a very short piece of work. So there've definitely been people that I've worked with and I don't work with them again. Let's put it that way, So sometimes it's like we're just not on the same page, and you may come back to me in 2 years and be like, I know what you were saying then, but actually I wasn't ready to hear it, blah blah blah. So and some of my celebrity clients, because it's really quite intimate role styling, you see people in their underwear, you're in their bedrooms, it's them inviting you into their space. So I sometimes I asked Dr. Rand to do a quote for me for my media pack, and he basically came back and said, Donna, I'm like one of my best friends. And I was like, but I think, no, I know. And I wasn't expecting that, I really wasn't. And then I was worried. I was like, does that make me look unprofessional? My friend was like, no, it makes you look like you're a healer, like you're a really good person, that, that you've gone in with the clothes and you've come away and he invites you to his birthday party, and it's like, yes. Okay. So I think that there's a lot of power in what I do, but we have to be, what you talk about vibing, you have to be vibrating at the same frequency or thereabouts. I'll try and bring you up to mine. If you try and bring me down to yours, then I will, slowly but very deliberately work. I need to protect my energy as much as you need to protect yours,
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right. I know. Let's move on to my mini makeover. Just for laughs. Right. So we talked about on our original call of our first chat, we were talking about color a lot, right? And you'd mentioned about my lipstick being a dark shade. And I was saying that I have dark lips, and you're right, I do have dark lips. And I was talking about I can't find the perfect nude, and maybe nudes don't suit me. And you hooked me up, and I've yet to go, but I will go, because that was exciting news, that I could have a nude lip if I wanted to.
Totally.
I thought the thing that let's just push the pandemic aside, because when I'm with a client and they come to session in a t-shirt and stuff like that, I can tell that they don't care. They're in that mindset with themselves that they don't care. All their meetings are on Zoom today. They don't have to do anything. And it's like, change the clothes. If you're talking about, you've got all these lovely clothes, you can't wear them anywhere, put them on. Just put them on.
I know.
Just put them on. Like, that's it. Just put them on. I am totally. For the majority of my day, I am at home in my house. I have a client session, or I do admin, wash clothes, blah, blah, blah. But every single day I get up and I put my face on and I do my hair and I put clothes on. I have never had a client session in pajamas, like pajama bottoms and just the top. No. Never, because it doesn't even feel right, because I need, like we've talked about, my clothes and my energy. So I need to be dressed. Even this Zoom call, like, you're only seeing me from the tits up, but I've got jeans on. I haven't got socks on, but I've got my jeans on, and everything else is done. So you should wear your heels. So I should wear my heels.
You should wear your heels, because it's one of the times you can wear your heels and they won't be painful, and you do sit differently in heels as well. Yes. So you can kind of, if you're wanting to feel powerful, I sometimes do Zoom calls in really, really, really like stonking shoes. And it's like, come at me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I actually do that when I'm in like a pitch meeting or something that requires more power, a different type of energy. Yeah, completely. Listen, babe, we are singing from the same hymn sheet. I'm here for all of this. But one of is as part of sort of manifestation, and I sort of talk about this at the top of the show, aligning your actions towards the things that you're wanting to manifest is really important. And one of those things is about, and this is actually the name of one of my programs, is about embodying yourself, and as separate words, yourself. So you visualize, or you manifest, or you say, I want to look like this, or I want to be this woman. And in order to be this woman, you're already her, but you have to kind of like show yourself that you're already her. Some of those things you have to do, well, not some, all of those things you have to do now. So I'll make this make sense. So in terms of myself, I'm not happy with my weight, and I see myself in the future, and the future's not too far away. Like, I'm talking about 5 years in the future, and in my house in Spain, and I'm receiving my clients. And whenever I do this manifestation, and I manifest, and I'm meditating on it, the visual that always comes up is a pair of skinny jeans, a white top, and a black jacket. That is, for some reason, that is the vision that comes up. I don't know why. I don't know like anything specific as to what has inspired that, but that's what comes up. So when I'm having
a sharp look.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, but I can't wear that yet, because it's a white vest, and it's a structured jacket, and everything else, and I'm not feeling great about it. And then I was sort of rummaging around my clothes recently, and I was like, hold on, I've got the outfit. I've got a black jacket, I've got the white top, and I've got the jeans. Let me just wear it and see where it goes, like how it feels to wear the outfit. And it's amazing, because whenever I do, no matter how I might have woken up feeling, once I put the outfit on, I'm in future self, but now. So then my day goes a whole different way, right? Everything is just like, yes, win, win, win. And so I know the power of it, tried it myself. And, I always suggest it to clients to sort of, if you have a version of yourself that you see, when you do your meditation, when you are in that manifestation space, really consider all the details. What are you wearing? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it feel like? Who's around you? So this is my manifested future self outfit, basically, right? That I'm wearing now to align. Now, I know you're going to be anti-color because there's not much color. Like literally, I'm standing up now. Oh, I have to put my leg up to show you blue jean, right? T-shirt. So I wear t-shirt up to the hip, so it covers the belly fat. And then this, I've just got a loose kind of bat wingy jacket, right? And that's my manifestation outfit, if you like.
Yeah.
But also I also appreciate that I can't just wear this, like as future self. Looking at me now, knowing my personality and, what I'm about as a person, what would you think I should either add or change to bring more of myself to the world?
To be more authentically Puja. So I think what you're wearing, there's lots I like about it. So for example, I love that you're wearing a V-neck, because V-necks are a really, really lovely way. You've got lovely skin tone, showing off skin tone. And also they're very kind of flattering if you have bigger boobs, which you do. I always say it's a hostage situation if I'm not in a V-neck, and I'm being held against my will. So and you need station intervention. So basically, like, V-necks are really flattering because what they do is they elongate the torso if you're shorter as well. So that's what I really like about the outfit. What you're wearing is quite comfortable, as in the jacket. It's black and it's white. It's monochrome. I love the jewelry. I love, again, you're creating a longer V here. You could have a bit more bling because you are a bit blingier. I love that you're showing off your tattoos because that's personality. I really like that. So I like the shorter sleeves, again, showing off skin. I would prefer to see you in a bit more of a structured jacket, just because it can be soft but structured, just because I think you've got nice shoulders and I'm not really seeing those, and you've got good posture. So it's about kind of playing to your strengths. Right. I also think that by covering what you're actually making yourself look a bit bigger, because it's just floating over, rather than if it was a bit more fitted. Sometimes it's more fitted the smaller we look. When we try and disguise areas, and this, because this is like when you try and hide something, it will always find a way. It's like by almost like being a bit more embracing of it and being a bit more fitted and not being uncomfortable, but a bit more fitted, sometimes that actually makes us look littler. People always say to me, oh, have you lost weight? When I wear something more fitted, I'm like, no, particularly when you're short, because of proportions. Right. So I'd like to see you do the French tuck t-shirt. So you know what I mean by the French tuck? Where they've literally done so much for the French tuck. Stylists been talking about French tuck for years. Queer Eye, if the straight guy comes on, and suddenly everybody knows what French tuck is. French tuck is basically where you wear a t-shirt and you pull it up at one side and you tuck it in, so you don't have kind of a long. Because if I wear a t-shirt and it comes down below my tummy, then I'm cutting off, because I'm very high waisted, I'm cutting off half my proportions. So when you're littler, it's about nipping you in, making it more, even with quite an unstructured outfit, even with loungy type stuff, you can still make it. So I would be getting a slightly more fitted t-shirt, and so it's not coming down to the top of your thigh, because I would bring it to mate with the proportions. More structure with your jacket. You can also add a little bit of color, so you can have some colored earrings, more gold, because you're a warmer skin tone. If you're wearing that out, I would say wear a colored trainer, or trainers with a little bit of color in them, or a colored bag, because if you're uncomfortable with color, and I'm not, but if you are, entry level is to get it through your accessories. So, your bag, your shoes, you could have a scarf, you could have earring, anything. It's just like, and the other thing is you do have a darker lip color, so that, and it's beautiful. But then you can experiment with a slightly more bolder lip,
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of thing, or go nuder, or go kind of go a bit more wackier with your eyes. You get away with any eyeshadow these days. So it's not just about the clothes, it's everything else that pulls it together. So I think that the basic premise of what you're wearing is really, really lovely, and there's lots to be said. It's just about sharpening it up a bit. I would definitely, for me, because I'm seeing you mainly from there upwards, the thing for me I want to see more of is the shoulder, because you feel it's being lost.
Okay. That's interesting. There's the shoulder.
Look, you've got really good shoulders, but because of the drape of that, automatically looks better. because of the drape of that, because it's got the drapey shoulders, it's actually making you look slightly more like that, and you're not like that. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes. Actually, now putting the jacket back on, I see
You
what
see
you're
the difference?
saying. Yeah, how interesting.
I always joke that, like, you know how you get kind of like, you know, men who say I mentally undress people, I mentally redress people in my head. I'm like, every time I'm looking at people, I'm like, if I just did that,
I love
you know,
that. I think
so
that was really interesting, actually. Yeah, no, but I'm with you on that. I completely like with the whole adding a pop of color. But that's kind of my bag. I was just thinking like if I could open my wardrobe now, I'd show you like my pop of color moments where I'm doing the sort of the basic monochromes in terms of like the white or the blue, like block colors, sorry. And I'll finish it with like an orange jacket or a yellow,
yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's you can always have like more of a statement jacket, but you know, there's a power in black and there's a safety in black, and sometimes it can be a really good color. So I do advocate wearing color. And me doing your glasses. I just ordered a green pair of glasses. I'm like, I want some green on my face, you know. I will show you them. But I think, you know, but thank you for letting me do that, because sometimes it's uncomfortable, you know, you're inviting somebody into your space and saying, how would you do this? And you know, and I'm saying, well, I think you should do this. But I always say it always comes from a place of love, and I hope that it came across in a positive and a complimentary way. So it's like I'm all about playing to your strengths. I'm not weaknesses or your problem areas. I don't see them. I always will look to play to the strengths, you know.
And
every woman has one thing they like about themselves, even if it's like, I like my wrists or I like my hands, you know. It's like, great, let's do that then.
Yes, absolutely. I think, you know, honestly, I've always been that person in terms of, you know, appreciating what I do have and what I do, you know, like about myself in terms of my physical. So that has sort of seen me through my life a lot more comfortably than I would have expected to, because I've always had the insecurity with my weight, but I've always known that I've had good eyes. I've always known I've got good lips. I've got that Cupid bow on the lips. I always enjoy wearing a lipstick. It's, you know, it's that I've always had good hair, and those are my things. And when I lost weight many years ago now, but 10 years ago now, I lost the weight. So I was this sort of size and I went down to a size 10. What I learned about my body then was that I had great legs. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So I've got another feature that I have. So even now with the weight gain, I know I've got good legs. If I stick on a pair of heels, I lift the outfit, you know, the outfit changes completely, you know, even this outfit, if I put a pair of heels on, changes the whole energy field, you know, within my space. It's amazing. And the pop of color, I realized that with the having the child and, you know, working for myself and blah blah blah, what I was doing was I was muting. So I was going more for the nude colors on the eyes. I was going for more nude lips. I was going for more what's the word, more somber colors in clothing, and more simpler, because I was feeling like that. I was feeling
fade out and kind of fit in rather than stand out. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people. And also I think that people assume that, you know, like I have a friend and she's like, you know, like, well, you know, style is like neutrals, you know, style. And I'm like, it's easy to be stylish in neutrals because you're just like not, you know, you're just playing it safe. The most stylish people are the people who will mix it up, you know. And you know, if you have a uniform, you know, where you wear a Breton top every day and some jeans and some ballet flats and this kind of very fine French look, it looks very chic and it looks, you know, it does, and it's timeless and it's classic and all the rest of it. But is it who you are?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Is that who you are? If that's who you are, then knock yourself out, you know, wear a pair of red ballerina flats and do it that way. But I think it's that people feel they need to conform to a certain look to fit in, and I get upset that people feel the need to fit in. It's why we talked about before, I love and hate Instagram in equal measure, because there's kind of like, it's like ubiquitous kind of look that everybody aspires to have, and then it's that Insta dress or that, and it's like I would be terrified about getting that dress even if I liked it, because I'd go somewhere and there'd be 15 people wearing it. That's like my worst nightmare.
100%. Yes.
you know, like it's because it reduces you. It's reductive. It's like, oh, I'm not special, or I'm not interesting, or I'm not unique, you know. And everybody wants to things, whether we admit it to ourselves or not. We all want to feel special and unique. And so I think it's really you find that style. And as I say, you know, I've done it myself. When I've had difficult or dark times in my life, I've not worn stuff that makes me feel good, or my makeup's been a bit, like you say, I've been like a drab version of myself rather than the peacock, I've been the peahen. So I think it's really important to do that and find who you are and be that person that you want to be. And you know what, it's okay to be different versions of yourself. I like to mix it up too. Sometimes I do, but not all the time. Not all. It does actually impact on my mood if I wear black all the time, and also it doesn't suit me. That's the other thing, we talk about body shapes, but also it's about body coloring. Like I'm a warm coloring. I'm Caucasian, but I'm warm. You're Asian, obviously warm, but then lots of Brits are very cool coloring. So black doesn't actually suit me. Navy is better on me than black or dark brown. And so like if I wear black, I have to wear a lot of gold to warm up my face. Even my glasses are like a brown, whereas black will wash me out. And it's that, being aware of what colors suit you as well. And color, our auras are color. Yes. There's no black aura. Okay, there isn't. It's white light, and then it's blue, and all of this. And I think that's it's really it's powerful. We've got to acknowledge that. Sorry, I'm off topic again.
I think I'm feeling very inspired right now, and just I think even just talking through when you did the sort of the mini makeover with me just now, and you said a couple of things in terms of your jewelry, you could add a pop of color to jewelry. I mean, for people who've known me for 100 years will know how much I used to invest in things like that. And I was thinking that I'm getting older now, let's change my style. And rather than changing my style to something that was, I guess, accentuating myself, I changed my style to mute myself. And literally, as we're talking right now, I am seeing something that I've been doing. Like I'm having a moment right now where I'm like, oh, so I've been muting myself. I'm coming across muted, and therefore things are muted. Whereas I want noise, and I want to be loud, not loud, obnoxious, but I want to be loud. I like in the work that I do, for instance. Present. I have got a bloody good message to share, really good skills to help others with. And it's like, he who shouts, she who shouts the loudest. But it's like I want to be seen for who I am. Yet I'm dressing in a way that doesn't show who I am. And I've just had a moment.
There's such power in clothes. I always say dress like you're about to like run into that ex-boyfriend that literally like ripped your heart out by its root and stubbed a cigarette in it as he kind of walked past. Like it's that level. It's like you never know who you're going to bump into. And so like feel your most powerful at all times. It does something. It really does. Even from like your underwear. Like I always wear matching underwear, because like if I got run over by a bus and I'm going to be that person on a slab inside the witness, then I want the pathologist to go, damn, this girl's got good underwear. Like she invested in herself.
Brilliant.
That's what I'm talking about.
Excellent. And I think that's a brilliant place to end this. So, there's a couple of things. Something that you said earlier on in the show about being kind to someone. And I think everyone listening today should make it their mission to actually go out and wherever they are, if they see something they like, go to that lady and you tell them that you like it. You have nothing to lose, so much to gain. It's a beautiful energy to share. Let's do it. Let's be nicer. This is what kindness is in action. People talk about be kind, blah, blah, blah. But kindness in action.
It's just a hashtag. No, absolutely, authentically kind. And it's a full moon today. So like it's an auspicious time to be being nice. This high energy, put that energy out there and it'll reverberate back.
Amazing. Donna, thank you so much for doing the show today. I really, really appreciate it. My God, we're going to have to do another one because there was so much in that. And I feel like we just touched the surface of everything. So thank you so much, babe.
I'd love to come back. Thank you. Thank you so much. And full moon blessings to you, darling.
Oh, totally. You too, babe. Thank you for listening to the Self-Care 101 podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, rate and review over on Apple Podcasts so that other people like you can find the show. For more information about the work I do, head over to my website, PujaMcClymont.com, and for daily inspiration, please follow me on Instagram at Puja McClymont. Sending love and talk to you soon.